Riyad'da bizim bir gazetecimize şunları söylüyor. Amerikalı albay söylüyor bunu. Diyor ki işte eliyle harita üzerinde Kürt devleti burada kurulacaktır. Savaş bitecek, Saddam çökmüş olacak. Daha Körfez Harbi bitmemiş. Harpten önce söylüyor adam. Saddam çökmüş olacak, bu yörede devlet kalmayacak. Devlet otoritesinden yoksun bir boşluk doğacak. Kürtler bir devlet kurarak buradaki boşluğu dolduracaklar. Belki de Türkiye'den toprak ister. Türkiye bunu kabul etmeyeceğini açıklamış bulunuyor dendiği zaman kendisine, o zaman çarpışacaksınız. Şimdi tekrar kendisine deniyor ki Türkiye'nin düzenli orduları, silahları, topları, zırhları, tankları, uçakları, füzeleri var. Böyle bir büyük güce nasıl karşı koyalım? Hem gerek İran, gerek Suriye, Irak'ın toprak bütünlüğü için açık tavır koymuş bulunuyorlar. Onların da bölgede bir Kürt devleti oluşmasına göz yumacaklarına nasıl ihtimal veriyorsunuz dendiği zaman Amerikalı yarbayın söylediği sözler şunlar. Irak'ın kuzeyindeki Kürtlerin de yakında çok silahları olacak. Saddam'ın bıraktığı silahlar onlara kalıyor. Belki Türkiye'de sizinkilerden bile ileri silahları olacak. Uçakları, tankları, füzeleri, zırhları, helikopterleri, havalimanları vesaire. Ne zaman söyleniyor bu sesler? Körfez Harbi'nin başında daha Körfez Harbi yapılmamış. Muhterem milletvekilleri, aziz milletimizin evlatları, bu okuduğum vesika ne gösteriyor? ABD, dış güçler, İsrail, bütün bu olayların hepsini planlı olarak yapıyor. Onların uzun vadeli planları var. Batılı ajanlar cirit atıyor. Onların bu uzun vadeli planları var da bizim kısa, orta ve uzun vadeli milli planlarımız nerede? Kim yapacak bunu? Yapması icap edenler bir plan sahibi olmadıkları gibi sadece onların planına alet olur. Bak onlar Orta Doğu'da Müslüman ülkeler arasında işbirliği olmaz. Türkiye Suriye'yle, Türkiye Irak'la, Türkiye İran'la çatışsın istiyorlar ve bunu gerçekleştiriyorlar. Öyleyse bu emperyalizm ve siyonizmin planını bozmamız lazım.
It is the most important story in the country. The next major war for the United States is with ISIS. But what media and politicians are not telling you the truth about, where ISIS came from, who created them, and why before one more dollar is spent, one more American life lost, you need to know the truth. So who exactly is ISIS? And where did they come from?
It's entirely a creation of the United States' behavior in Iraq. That's how we got to where we are, because of war, because of occupation, because of torture.
For answers, we traveled to Los Angeles to meet with Angela Keaton, the founder of antiwar.com.
We destabilized and wrecked Iraq. I mean, it caused it to fail miserably, and that's entirely the responsibility of the United States government. There's no one else at fault there. I mean, as horrible as Saddam Hussein was, Iraq was not unstable. It was a functioning country as much as those sorts of things go, and it was not a particularly horrible hellhole if you were a religious minority.
To understand where ISIS comes from, you have to understand two storylines. The first is what Keaton just said. When the U.S. first went into Iraq, we blew the country apart. We destroyed the government, toppled Saddam Hussein, destroyed infrastructure, and most importantly, left behind a power vacuum. One that would have never have existed had Hussein not been overthrown by the U.S. government. Daniel McAdams with the Ron Paul Institute says this is an historical fact that media just won't discuss.
Saddam çökmüş olacak, bu yörede devlet kalmayacak. Devlet otoritesinden yoksun bir boşluk doğacak.
But where it all fell apart, weapons that the U.S. insisted would be used by freedom fighters would be in less than 1 year in the hands of ISIS fighters. So where were these fighters coming from? Actually, from the Free Syrian Army, the group that John McCain insisted would help the U.S. to overthrow Assad. That same group actually giving weapons, selling weapons, and sending fighters to join with this new group called the Islamic State. It was in June of 2014 when suddenly, after being a no-name group in Syria, that ISIS emerged, heavily armed and trained by U.S. and coalition special forces, making a dramatic entrance by crossing back over the Syrian border into Iraq, capturing Mosul and much of the northern part of the country. One of the most important facts that mainstream media ignores time and time again is that ISIS was able to grow so fast because of all the U.S. military equipment they were able to seize, equipment that our military left in Iraq. truckloads of Humvees, tanks, and weaponry that instead of taking or destroying, the U.S. government simply decided to leave behind. Even when the U.S. government knew that ISIS fighters were capturing that equipment, for crying out loud, these guys were posting pictures of themselves driving and standing on U.S. military equipment, making video of themselves with it, we did nothing. Why? It's a great question. And here are some other questions that defy logic when you start looking for answers. Why is the U.S. sending $500 million to the Free Syrian Army to fight ISIS when the FSA is one of the biggest suppliers of fighters and weapons to ISIS? Why are we sending new and more powerful weapons to the FSA like anti-aircraft missiles, weapons that we know will end up in the hands of ISIS?
ISIS, of course, is going to now have anti-aircraft missiles provided by the U.S. and the Saudis.
Belki Türkiye'de sizinkilerden bile ileri silahları olacak. Uçakları, tankları, füzeleri, zırhları, helikopterleri, havalimanları vesaire. Ne zaman söyleniyor bu sesler?
Well, there are so many questions that we could ask, but let's just cut to the chase here, because what you need to know about this is that ISIS is not the creation of American inaction, which is what the media is going to tell you. No, they are the product of direct action.
Bu okuduğum vesika ne gösteriyor? ABD, dış güçler, İsrail, bütün bu olayların hepsini planlı olarak yapıyor. Onların uzun vadeli planları var. Batılı ajanlar cirit atıyor.
Is that true? Well, you decide. Fact. Our government armed Osama bin Laden and the Mujahideen in Afghanistan and created Al-Qaeda. Fact. Our government helped supply Saddam Hussein chemical weapons for him to use against Iran in 1980 and then overthrew him in 2003. Fact. Our government trained rebel fighters in Syria who would become the group today known as ISIS.
You tell the story about how you tried to find out what they call the Mossad when they deal with publicly?
I thought it was a reasonable question, but the trouble is you can't pick up the phone book. There's no Langley in Israel that you can look up, CIA, or in our case, the Mossad. We thought we should ask, what shall we call it in English? You can translate the Hebrew words, as I said, Mossad is institute, but when they write a letter to their friends in the CIA or the British intelligence, what do they call themselves? It took a while. It was a matter of asking the Prime Minister's spokesman. The best you could do, because officially the Mossad is under the Prime Minister's office. And I think he sort of wondered why you want to know and all that, so we explained. And he came up with the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. I mean, if it were to have initials, it would be ISIS. Just simple words like that.
Öyleyse bu emperyalizm ve siyonizmin planını bozmamız lazım.